What is going on, guys? It's Yoji. Welcome to Hilariously Casual Podcast episode. What is it? 14! I'm prepared. And we have Project PT here with us as always. And at this time as well, the one, the only, the mad, the Mori. Who else would it be?
Good morning.
And yes, for him it's absurdly early, I heard.
6:57 in the morning, yeah, right before 7 o'clock.
I wouldn't do the podcast at that time. Like what?
When do you normally wake up then?
When do I normally wake up?
Especially on Saturdays.
Well, I got an 8-year-old. On a Saturday, I don't know, probably 9 o'clock in the morning.
A lot better.
That's pretty generous for an 8-year-old letting you sleep in that long. You're lucky.
Yeah, she's usually drawing, watching videos or something, so she lets us sleep. It's pretty good.
When I was 8 years old, I wouldn't let anyone be awake at the time. When I'm awake, everyone has to wake up because it's boring anyways. And I was awake early. I don't know why as a kid I was always wake up super early, and now I can't get up for the life of me. It's weird. Strange stuff. So yeah, we had to talk about probably mainly Path of Exile or whatever else we want to talk about. Mori, what have you been up to in Path of Exile recently? I know you've been playing quite a bit.
I have been dropping triple Flame Blast totems and absolutely annihilating everything. That's what I've been up to.
Yeah, that's what Flame Blast kind of does. I've been playing Self-Cast, and yeah, Flame Blast does absurd damage. How do you like the totems, and especially like triple totems?
Well, I played Self-Cast Flame Blast. I think it was in the Bloodlines League, and I liked it. It was pretty cool. And everybody told me, you got to be real careful. You're going to one-shot yourself to reflect, and that's exactly what I did. I think it was the first map that I had ever went into, like right before where the boss was going to spawn. I can't remember exactly what map it was, and I just one-shot myself off screen. So hadn't played it since, and then everybody was saying, well, you got to try it on totems, and then I remember I had played the fireball, the flame totems, and we did that quad totem, so we decided to do quad totems again, and it's going pretty well. We've actually gotten rid of one totem and gone down to 3 totems, but yeah, it's great. I'm loving it. I think it's awesome.
So then, other than Reflect immunity, which is something I'm sure you're enjoying quite fantastically, what are you enjoying with the totem style over the self-cast?
Just the fact that all you have to do is see, so we'll have to back up a little bit. I'm a super simple type player, you know what I mean? I know there's a lot of people out there that play the game and they get really into it and the whole min-maxing and studying it and everything like that. I just want to push some buttons and kill a bunch of stuff and get a bunch of loot. And this is probably one of, if not the best build for that. I mean, just hit the button a couple times, place some totems, run around like an idiot, avoid everything, and pick up the loot. So I think that's what I'm enjoying about it the most, is how easy it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm playing derp totems at the moment, the Ancestral War Chiefs, and it's just like, put a mace on you, drop the derp totems, and, they'll just do the work eventually.
Right.
Freaking totem players, what is this? What did I end up in? Yeah,
hey, you were the first one who did, like, facebreaker totems that I know of.
Yeah, I'm actually, like, when the bad totems were released, the single target totems that don't have AoE, that also have worse single target. I think that's like the weirdest thing about the Warchief totems. They also have better single target because you can link Gonk effect, which you can't do to the others. So it's like, why do the other totems even exist anymore? But hey, that's another thing. And yeah, I actually put Facebreakers on and tried them, and the problem was mainly the AoE. So yeah, I was not surprised that Warchief totems with Facebreakers was fantastic when the single target totems with Facebreakers were already good.
Mm-hmm. And so have you been enjoying the changes with the Atlas, Mori? Because that's...
So the Atlas for me in the very beginning was kind of confusing, right? A lot of people were saying, don't mess up your Atlas. If you do something wrong, you're going to screw up the entire game for you. So I had no idea like what everybody was talking about. And I don't ever do any kind of research. I don't read any patch notes. I don't like go to the website and read and do anything like that. So it was all just pretty much going into it blind. But, once I figured it out, once the bros in the channel kind of helped me out a little bit, it's actually pretty easy, and I like it. I think it's an awesome change to it. I like Path of Exile because of like there's so much that you can do. You know what I mean? It's not just like you're walking down a hallway and you can only continue to go down that hallway. Whereas Path of Exile, you start walking down a hallway and then there's so many other hallways and rooms that branch off to it that it really just adds to the game. So the whole Atlas thing that they added and being able to add extra features to it or whatever, as in, extra mods to maps, I think it's awesome. Plus, I feel like I've been dropping more maps than I used to, which is nice.
Yeah, that's definitely what most people report that I talk to. That as soon as you get that bonus a little bit rolling, you just find more and more maps than you ever have before. And
it's a little bit weird though, because I don't know how you felt with it in the red tiers, the 11 plus tiers, but it's so easy to just drop tier 12s and 13s like candy that I just don't care about the map rolls anymore.
actually,
have you noticed that, like, because you're dropping these higher maps, that the leveling has been easier, or has it been slower?
For me, it's about the same, but I'm playing solo self-found, which puts some other restrictions, and it took me a long time to progress through the Atlas.
Yeah, for me, it feels like I'm leveling so much slower. I think this is my second character this league. I play on the hardcore essence. I haven't died yet. I got one level 78, and then I think we just hit level 88 last night. But it seems like it's taking me forever to just get to level 88, where I feel like right now I should probably be 90, 91, maybe pushing close to 92, and I'm only 88. I don't know. For me, it feels real slow. But then again, I'm only dropping maps that are, under, let's say, tier 8, tier 9. Last night was the first map I dropped that was tier 10. So I think for people like me, it's awesome, but it's taken me forever. So I don't know. You guys obviously maybe not really feeling the effects of that much.
what I mainly feel is that I actually wanted to play longer because I actually had like red maps available to me all the time, so I actually could run content that was more interesting. I wasn't stuck in tier 10 and tier 11 maps as I usually kind of was. So I instead I just could just run tier 14s when I wanted to, or tier 15s and tier 13s, and that actually kept me going to like 96, which is 4 levels higher than I've ever leveled before.
Oh, that's quite significant, actually.
Yeah, because I was actually like enjoying it. It was always my main complaint that, hey, I want to run these hard ass maps, and I actually rolled them rippy as well. I was like, okay, I could probably sustain them with not running them rippy, but why would I if I actually want to run hard content? So I just all can go maps and just only rerolled Ellie Reflect, didn't reroll for damage mods, and
Yep.
had a few close calls to white mobs because of that. But
One thing that is definitely been enjoyable for me is the very large map pool that's available now in terms of the different ones, because it is nice at least seeing like more tile sets than you're used to. Regardless,
Yeah.
it keeps things a bit fresher. I also realize you're allowed to swear, by the way, Mori, in case you're curious.
Oh, I rarely ever swear.
Okay. All right, Mr. Minivan.
That's all for the stream. That's a different guy. If you want that guy, we can definitely bring him on.
Whatever you want. Have fun. That's the point. But it's definitely a really nice thing to have that kind of freshness, which is something you have to try to make sure you're holding within the ARPG genre. It's very easy to put yourself in a rut, and that's the last thing you would ever want to do.
Yeah, overall, like, how have you enjoyed the new bosses so far, Mori? I would be surprised if you haven't. Like, you went in blind for the most part. Yes, you get tips from chat, but have to have happened some close calls and scary moments.
So last league, I don't remember the name of the last league, but last league I decided on an earthquake character that I think hit level 90, 91, which was the highest level that I've ever been. We decided to do like a map challenge. I'm sure it's been done before, but what it was essentially I was going to start at tier 1 and then work my way all the way up, doing every single map in that tier, getting it to at least less than 50 monsters remaining and having the boss killed. And what was so significant about is I had never done a lot of these maps. Like, so in, let's say, tier 1, there was maybe 1 to 2 maps I would do. Tier 2, tier 3, each 1 to 2 maps. So there was a lot of maps, a year and a half into playing this game that I have never even seen, hadn't even gone in, and especially hadn't even seen the bosses. So it was pretty crazy going in blind. And so now for this league, the Essence League, and we have the Apex, and we have all these new maps. What is it, like something like 30 new maps, 19 new bosses or something like that. I knew it was going to be insane for me because I still hadn't seen anything really over tier 10. And now that they've added all these new maps or tile sets, bosses to the lower levels, it's been pretty crazy. Essentially, everything we've done has been going in blind. I haven't looked at any videos. No one's really told me. I'll ask a question like, hey, is this boss hard? And everybody be like, oh, no, it's easy. You're fine. And I've got no idea if they're being, serious or not. So I go in and there's been a couple close calls, but nothing, like I said, with the flame blast totems, essentially place a couple totems, run around, and everything's dead. You don't really have to worry about anything. I could see on maybe an earthquake character or something like that, be a little bit different, but so far it's been real easy. Couple close calls. Other than that, it's been fine.
Do you think that's a kind of a good change compared to what you're used to? Because you've had your fun rips in past running to the mechanics.
Right.
And
no, I think the way that I've been doing it now has brought a whole lot of enjoyment to the game. Before I was content with continuously doing, like, let's say a shore map or something like that over and over and over, until I maybe out leveled that, and then I went and did one more map higher than that, over and over and over. So this has been a whole lot of fun because now I'm just grabbing whatever map, this drop, let's go do it, and have no idea what it is. So it's definitely brought a lot more enjoyment to the game. Not that the game wasn't enjoyable before, but now it's it's fun, and the whole mystery of, oh man, are we gonna rip? No idea what we're getting into, is a lot of fun.
And then have you done any essence crafting yet? Like played around with that?
I have not. I've got a stash tab full of the essences, and every now and then I'll ask the chat. I'll be like, hey, really, I want to roll a ring. What should I roll it on? And the pretty much the general answer is, oh, whatever you need. And I'm like, well, I don't know what I need, So I don't really get involved with crafting. It's beyond me. Too hard.
So you're not hoarding essences for the sake of hoarding, as some other people might be doing, but you just you don't really feel like you need to craft to get the upgrades you need.
Yeah, probably. Well, that, and I just don't know how to craft. I dropped a weapon last night that had 700, or it was 370 on the top end, and then like 181 on the low end. And to me, it looked great. It was a two-headed sword. It looked like it had a lot of DPS. I threw a bunch of the armor scraps on it, or the sharpening stones, to make it even higher. And it was right about 400 DPS. And I'm thinking, wow, this is amazing. I've never seen, something drop with this high. It had a 100% physical damage increase. I'm like, oh, this is great. And everyone's like, oh, it's crap, dude. Just sell it to the vendor. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I just wound up selling it to the vendor. But, I think maybe if I known a little bit more, or know a little bit more about the crafting system, I probably would be enjoying that part of it as well. But to me, it's just like, well, if there's another essence, I'll put it in the bank. Maybe I'll use it. Maybe I won't.
That's actually kind of interesting to me, because the essence system was supposed to kind of alleviate some of the leveling to give you some more powerful rares, but it doesn't help to explain the crafting system. And
right.
You're not a new player to the ARPG genre. You're not even a new player to Path of Exile. And sure, you're not delving into it as much as other people, but I think it's quite telling of the crafting mechanics as it's presented in the game, when with the amount of hours you've put in, how familiar you are with the RPGs, that you're still like,
right.
So I want to use essences, but I have no fucking clue what to do with them.
Yeah, I mean, they seem like a great concept, They're just like an Orba Alchemy, and then it rolls. Well, this one, it'll roll just like that, but it'll give you a guaranteed slot. But to me, I'm just thinking, well, okay, so I could roll a ring and have a guaranteed roll on it, but then everything else is just going to be random as well. I mean, then what do I do? Do I trash it? Do I then take it to the crafting bench and try to re-roll it? And then, everybody's saying, well, it's got to have the right base. Like, I'll drop an item and I'll be like, whoa, this is a 5 link. This is probably pretty awesome. Everybody's like, oh, it's a crap base, just throw it away. And I'm like, okay, I guess so, So I don't know what the point of, okay, this item now has the potential to roll something amazing versus, yeah, it had potential, but there's no way that it'll ever be anything. So I just generally, oh, this looks cool, I'll throw it in the bank, and it'll sit there and it'll rot until the next league. I won't ever touch it.
Maybe it would help if they just put on, like, for example, for the bases, they actually put on which tier of base it is. That could maybe help. Like, if you drop the chest piece and it would tell you this is the tier 1 armor chest piece, the highest tier, and then you're like, hey,
right,
this must be a good base, it's tier 1. I mean, there's nothing above tier 1, right? Of course, it's not that easy, because there's, sometimes the tier 2 have some advantages over the tier 1s and stuff. But, at least, put some metric on it. Same for the rolls. I mean, you could at least tell someone what tier the roll is that they rolled.
Well, you could take like the top 4 and call that tier 1.
Yeah.
And then kind of keep doing that.
Yeah, that's
so then
cool, that as
actually,
well.
I guess the question is, what information, obviously you don't know exactly what it is, do you feel that you're missing for you to have more confidence in using the essences?
Really, I think it's stubbornness is what the problem is. Like I'm sure that a lot of people before me have figured it out. A lot of people after me have figured it out. It just going to the website and reading, or maybe just I don't know, finding one of your guys' YouTube videos that'll explain, hey, this is the essence system. These are how rolling work, or just even Googling Path of Exile crafting or something like that. So. I think the thing is that I just don't want to, you know what I mean? Like I don't really care too much, and it kind of sounds crappy, but and this has gone back in the ages of the games that I played. I haven't really cared too much about like certain aspects of the game. I really like Path of Exile. Path of Exile is awesome. I came from Diablo 3. Diablo 3 kind of went downhill. I decided to play something different. Path of Exile was there. We tried that and loved it. And just crafting is something that within the game that I don't enjoy. Maybe I'd enjoy it more if I studied on it, but I just don't have the desire to study on it. I just want to get out there and crush a bunch of monsters and get a bunch of loot and then look at it and go, oh, that looks amazing, but I have no idea, and then just put it away. The process of killing the monsters is the fun part for me.
All right. So you want to maximize your monster killing time, and just like
Yeah.
the other stuff is basically just a mean to an end to trash more epic monsters. Yeah, I mean that's a cool approach as well. It's just basically go with like what's fun for you and just like maximize that. I mean, why not?
Kind of like Project PT. You had invited me to your hideout the other day, and it was awesome. I always see these hideouts, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And then you go and you look at mine, and it looks like a bachelor pad. There's a couple of chairs here and there, app device, and that's it. But so like that's an aspect of the game that's there that you could spend hours upon hours on. But for me, I just whatever, plain is fine. I just want to kill some monsters. So it's the same thing with the crafting system.
Mm-hmm. Then what was you as coming from D3? What is something that Diablo 3 actually has that you feel Path of Exile needs?
That I feel it needs.
Oh, something you missed when you switched over. You were like, oh, this game's like really awesome and all, but like I wish it had this little tiny thing from D3.
An auction house. I mean, you guys have probably heard that before, but that would probably be the one thing that I wish. That's the one thing that I wish Diablo 3 would have never gotten rid of. And it's not the real money side of it. It's just the ease of going, okay, I know that I want these pair of gloves. Let me see if I can find them. You type it in the search menu in the auction house. The auction house automatically populates with everything that is there that has your stipulations, and you go, okay, I want to buy this one, and then you just buy it right from within the system, right from the auction house. Whereas this way, and I understand GGG's point of view of how they want the trade system to work and the interaction between people, which is great and all in theory, but let's be honest, and I mean, you guys probably will say the same thing. Trading on Path of Exile is a pain in the ass. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
So most of the time.
So that'd be the one thing.
I was going to say this directly feeds into you want to kill stuff. Trade is taking too much time away from you killing stuff.
Right. Yes, it does. And I mean, I don't know how many times I've gone, oh man, this is the perfect helm, or the perfect chess piece. And then you message the person and it shows within the system that, or your PoE.trade, it shows that they're online, and you click it, this person's offline, or, this person's AFK. Okay, no big deal. You sit, you wait for a few minutes, nothing. There's been items that I've gone down the line at least 7-8 people, and now the item's getting worse and worse and worse. And now I'm like settling because person number 9 is online and yeah, trade with me. That's great. And I'm like, well, it's what I needed, but it's not what I wanted, Whereas if it just had an auction house, or, I mean, it doesn't even need to be an auction house, like a store, however you want to call it, whatever you want to say, like to be able to buy those items. So yeah, a bit of like time, and then also a bit of actually getting what you want.
Yeah, I think most people can agree with that. Like that PoE trade can be such a pain in the ass at some point.
Yeah.
That's the understatement of the year.
Yeah.
Like, PoE trade is
Chris Wilson actually said on Reddit like recently that there will be some statement for trade in the upcoming weeks. Because he was
an announcement of a statement.
It's an announcement of an announcement
recent?
of a statement. Yeah, that was recent.
Yes.
Someone made a thread just about, hey, Chris Wilson, can we know something about trade, please? And he was like, yeah, we don't have anything ready just yet, but like in the next, give us a few weeks and we will like give you a proper statement or something to announce.
Well, that'd be pretty cool.
There will be, hopefully, I mean, they promised us at least 2 more trade improvements this year. That was the last time we heard about trade, so I'm hoping there will something be happening.
7.5 months ago, though.
It was, at the beginning of the year. And we have gotten 1, and they promised us 3 total, so...
So it was 7.5 months ago that they said in the upcoming weeks there'll be an announcement?
No. 7.5 months ago, they did a trade improvements, which was the premium stash tabs.
Which is awesome, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Then they said there was going to be 2 more trade improvements within the time frame of a year. Well, now we haven't seen the second trade improvement that was promised, obviously not the third one, and it's been 7.5 months since that statement.
Yeah, so we're due.
And then recently they said that there's going to be an announcement, or they announced an announcement about trade.
As they like to do in PoE. Announcement of an announcement that something will be announced soon. Mm-hmm. So yeah, at least there happens to be something on the horizon for trade somewhere.
But what if it's just not substantial? Imagine it's an improvement, but not really a substantial improvement.
I mean, I would already be a lot happier if they kind of like fixed the API to the point where if you message someone on PoE Trade and he shows us online, he's not AFK and he's not offline, because that actually updates frequently enough for that not to happen. That already for me would be a substantial improvement that hopefully it would not be so difficult without changing the whole system. But I'm hoping for more. I'm hoping for like something cool and awesome, because it took fucking 7 months. Like it has to. Like, can this be substantial, please? That would be good.
Well, see, it's for me at least. It's not the this player's offline that bugs me. It's the ones that you message and they're there and the message goes through and they're not even AFK and they just never reply to you. You know what I mean? Like that's what is like aggravating. You're like, okay, do I sit here and wait? Do I wait 10 minutes? Do I wait 5 minutes? How important is this item? Do I spam them again? I don't want to look pushy. Where, if you had a system like an auction house, it would be awesome because it's there, you grab it, you go on about your business. I don't know if they'll ever put that in, probably not, but I think it's one of the greatest things that, that Blizzard did essentially with Diablo was putting those auction houses in. Is freaking awesome.
One thing that people commonly are unaware of, if you get a whisper message when you're in an instance, the sender of the message will be sent successfully, but the receiver will have no history of it, even if they press enter. So always whisper someone twice, because if you whisper them while they're going through an instance, they will not get it.
Oh yeah, it's like
as in passing through in the loading screen.
Yeah.
That's still around, because sometimes I had that where I was like running a map and then suddenly I get like, you there, and I'm like, yes, and I'm like,
been here the whole time.
So are you selling the item? I'm like, what item? Then he copies the message again. I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, leave the map, toss him the item, get some chaos, and we're like, okay. And until I figured out, read somewhere, and I think I was like on the forums or something, what that was. I was like so confused because that happened to me like maybe like once a league or so, but it was still confusing as hell when it happened.
Mm. It's not going to reduce. One of the things I find is when I was trading, once I accumulated an amount of currency that anything that I would want, I could then have. I would honestly ignore when people whispered me because I was just like, I can't be asked to trade. The system is so painful to go through that I'd just be like, you know what? Fuck that guy. He can't trade him.
Yeah, it's only 1 chaos. I'm not leaving the map for 1 chaos.
So for me, I'm the opposite. I've, play on the Hardcore Essence League, and it's happened twice this league so far. I'll be playing in a map, in the middle of killing stuff, and somebody will whisper me and say, hey, want to buy this item, and I just like immediately teleport out or portal out and go back to the hideout, and then I'll be looking at my for sale tab, and I'm like, what are they talking about? And then I go and I look at the message, and they want something from the hardcore league. And I'm like, oh, I don't even play over there. Once the league ends and everything transfers over, I don't even go over there. But I have twice this league, logged out, went over there to hardcore, traded it to them, and they want it for want to buy for 10C. I'm like, yo, I don't play here, nor will I ever play here again. You could just have it. And then I just wind up giving them a bunch of stuff right along with it. And then I'll log back over and keep playing. So to me, I get excited. Somebody whispers to me, and I'm like, yeah. What is going on here? Yeah, I'd love to do this, so.
So pro tip for every permanent hardcore player: if you want free items, just message Mori. And
yeah, yeah. Just hardcore items. You want them? Just message me. Whatever it is, they're yours free.
Yeah, you're probably gonna get spammed now by both permanent hardcore players.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoy in ARPGs interacting with other players. I know there's the memes about player interaction, but I legitimately like when the graphics aren't vomiting on my screen doing party play. I legitimately do enjoy, trading and working around the economy, buying a particular item that I was working towards.
Right.
But it's the interface process of using PoE trade that takes all the fun out of it. And I don't understand why it's such a big thing, but it just turns into one of those, I want the things to be in-game. I understand researching outside of the game, but trading, let me trade in the game without having to use multiple tools.
It just feels more like, I don't know, like the game feels more professional, like the presentation is nicer. It's also nicer to not having to tap out or use a second monitor for PoE trade. I think overall it would just do a lot of good for PoE if it was just in game. I think a lot of more people would find the trading, because I don't think many new players will find trading immediately. And yeah,
I didn't find trading for my entire first league.
I probably didn't trade even longer than that, but yeah. I mean, first league, at first I played in permanent hardcore for forever, and then I started playing in Nemesis. The first leagues I just ignored. There was Anarchy and the Onslaught or whatever it was. I was like,
yep.
Onslaught, that sounds like it's just everything's just more difficult. Why would I? It's like just stats to mobs. No, I want stats. I'm just leaving. I'm just not playing this. I got all my stuff on permanent hardcore. And then in Nemesis, that was the first time I was like, okay, now these mobs seem kind of cool. Then I started playing. I think it was somewhere mid Nemesis that I actually started trading.
Chad is like permanent hardcore. Mori was the one person playing in permanent hardcore was buying shit from Mori.
Yep. Mori probably is the one person selling stuff on permanent hardcore. Yeah, I actually made sure to delete all my threads because I don't like it when I get messages for standard or whatever stuff.
Well, it's not the threads, right? It's the premium stash tabs. I figured that it would all cancel itself, but when your hardcore league stash transfers over to the permanent hardcore league, or however you want to refer to it as, those still stay public tabs, for sale tabs, and they still populate. So I'm like, where do I have this item for sale at? And then I go back, I read their message, it's in hardcore, and then I go look. So I guess what I could do to help combat this is actually go log into hardcore, public those tabs, and then just kind of remove those items in a way. But it continues to just auto populate itself. That's why. Yeah. And this, and I get those messages multiple times.
You could also just sandpaper your balls. It's not really a pleasant experience either way.
I don't mind it much,
There's some layers of tedium that just don't need to exist, and you're playing the game, you're enjoying the game, and then it's just you hit this wall of tediousness that takes away from your fun, and then you have to start up again. It's a bit jarring.
I look at it this way. Let's say I was the individual that was on hardcore. I played hardcore. I didn't really realize there was a league, or I did realize there was a league, but I've worked for a lot of stuff on the hardcore leagues, and I saw an item for sale, and I messaged somebody, and they told me, hey, fuck you. You know what I mean? I'm over here. I'm doing something different. That doesn't exist to me. I'd be like, oh, well, that really sucks. I mean, because I know the struggles of dealing with the trade, as do most people. So yeah. If I have the opportunity to make somebody's day a little bit easier, to be there for them, then, I'll take a few minutes out to go make the trade, and I won't even take their currency because whatever, I'll never play on those, leagues again. So, they could just have it kind of deal. But that's why I do that.
Yeah, you're definitely making somebody's day. Because they're trading, they're like whispering the 5 people that have stuff listed, and they're like, "Please, somebody respond."
And I'm the only person responding. Yeah, exactly.
No, man.
uh,
Yeah, I actually
that's
bought an item once on permanent hardcore because I wanted to test something. It was what's it called? The jewel that gives projectiles or totems, that one. And it just took
yep.
forever. There were like 4 people online. This was between leagues. And I messaged all of them, and one of them replied like 1 hour later. I was like, yes, thank you.
It's probably me.
Yeah, it's probably Mori.
I remember my first experience with permanent hardcore trading was when they tried to do the PvP thing, and it was in the permanent league, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll play in hardcore. I'll just buy the skill gems for my build. Oh my god,
That's not gonna happen.
I wanted to PvP, but there was nothing to buy, and I was so sad. Like I remember like 3 or 4 hours just whispering people to try a build that I didn't even know would be good or bad, and nope, just fail, just fucking failure. So that was a bit of a pain.
Yeah, apparently Twitch is having some problems, but
speaking of Twitch, what do you guys think about this new Twitch Prime thing? The little blue, or not blue, I guess the white little crown. Have you guys messed with any of that lately?
Yeah, I actually have looked into it because I have Amazon Prime, so I was like, oh, apparently I get free stuff now, and I don't have to pay for one subscription that I have. Yay! That's cool.
Yeah.
Because I have Amazon Prime forever, because in Europe, Amazon is just a pain in the ass. If you don't have Amazon Prime, you basically don't want your packages anyways.
You don't want your packages. Like, fuck you, consumer. What is this?
At least that's from my experience. So yeah, because if I especially in Germany, because we have like like the big like state that used to be like state monopoly post service, and then they also have like, now they have like other smaller ones, but they still pretty much have a monopoly. But if you have Amazon Prime, you have the option to have Amazon deliver stuff to you instead of the big monopoly thing that who always don't give a shit. So you actually get your packages then. And if you take the big post, at least in Berlin, you don't get your packages at all, at all. And it's like my roommate is actually currently going through the process of having, they're like these huge boxes where you can have your packages delivered to, and you can pick them up then with like a code on your phone and like have it scanned or whatever, or like have a pin that you enter, and then it will give out your package. So if you're not at home, or if you live on the top floor, that's like I do, and the post delivery guy always is like, he lives on the top floor, I just pretend he's not there, put a message in his thing that he can pick it up at the post office. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, because he's not walking up those stairs. And I don't blame them, they are underpaid as fuck, so yeah, I'm not even have any problem with it. So yeah, and he's trying to get that now for like 9 months, and they still haven't set it up. So that's the German post for you, especially in big cities, especially if you live in the top floor of a building, you are fucked. So Amazon Prime for the win.
I was just confused. I am awful with the stuff. I stream video games. I want to play. I want to entertain people. The actual like technical background, fucking no shit's given. So I just log on, and all of a sudden there's new crowns, and I'm like, okay, they're doing. Like, I remember the Horde versus Alliance bullshit. I'm like, whatever, there's a thing, and then I'm like, Twitch Prime sub, and I'm like, oh my god, what's happening now? I don't have a notification of this. Help! And then
I'm the same way.
Right when I start, like Ziggy D hosts me when I just start up 2 minutes into my stream, and then I'm like, oh my god, what's happening? I don't know what's happening.
Oh, wow.
So I still don't know the details yet. Apparently, you can sub through your Amazon account, which
For free,
I assume it's a way for them to essentially transfer the all of the people who have an account on Twitch to make it so that you actually make an account on Amazon, and that counts as your Twitch account, so that then you're have better incentivization. Like, oh, I already have an Amazon account, I might as well just shop on Amazon, and that's kind of their angle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you do the math, though, and I mean, everybody knows me for my math skills, but if you do the math, like, it's actually more beneficial to just have your subscription through Amazon Prime than it is through Twitch. You know what I mean? Like you're not really taking anything away from Twitch. You're actually, because what a Twitch subscription is $4.99. I don't know how much Amazon Prime is in, other countries, but here I pay $8.25 a month. So I'm a Turbo user. I've been a Turbo user since the day that Turbo was released on Twitch TV, and I'm subscribed to other channels. So if you look at it like if you have Twitch Turbo and you're subscribed to one channel, you're paying more than if you just had Amazon Prime. And so you get Amazon Prime now with every benefit that they have, the post office, the stuff, what Yoshi was talking about. Like you get all of that stuff. Plus now you get other stuff for free games, free in-game content, stuff like that. It seems like it would be a no-brainer to get Amazon Prime if you don't have it. So
you also get like some free movies and stuff. My roommate is using that as well. It's just really interesting. Like what I think what is it's one of those things where if you're actually using the stuff, it's definitely worth it. And they mainly not do it for profit, but to like buying customers. And so if you're already using it, it's actually profit.
Well, I'm sure there's also a bit of, hey, we're going to pick up new people here with this,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think those new people
they're
that
doing it
jump
for money.
forward,
That's not a charity event.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely. Right. But I mean, they do give a lot of stuff, it seems, with the perks and everything, just with the perks from Amazon Prime alone. Now you're adding in, let's say some Twitch perks. So for the people that do use both, I mean, it's awesome. I think it's pretty good.
If Twitch had the marketing capacity to not be retarded, they would allow streamers to create an Amazon Prime wish list on their account. And so that when people are watching, they have that wish list, and you can do a direct donation for the items of the wish list that would auto buy when they hit.
I don't think I think it's just a matter of time until that happens. To be
honest. That's the thing. That's the perfect integration of the whole streamer donation system, the Amazon Prime system, and the popularity of booby cams, for lack of better terms. Like it's just exactly what it needs to be to maximize their profits.
Well, wait, so hold up. So what do you mean about like an Amazon Prime wish list? Like, because you can make a wish list on Amazon Prime and have somebody purchase it and have it directly sent to your home.
Yeah, if they integrated that smoother. So like when you're on Twitch.
It's like a Twitch feature.
Oh, so you mean not like have it down in the info section, but have like an actual Twitch official button that you click and it takes you to that individual.
Exactly.
Like right next to the sub button, instead of sub, you have like wish list or something. Like it's actually
right.
So sub and wish list donation.
This will so happen.
Oh, gotcha.
So it's obviously you can do it and you can set that up on your stream, but it's the difference of the integration of the system versus having to use either third party and playing around with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think they are mainly just like testing the waters now. I mean, this is like the first big change we noticed that definitely has to do with Amazon buying Twitch like some time ago, and.
That's 2 years ago, yeah.
They're probably just like testing the waters of what's possible. Amazon are all about like having like one big system where they integrate all that shit. So I hope they don't screw it up. I hope they make useful stuff happen and not just only money grabs. But we'll see.
It seems like it's been getting better, more content being added. And I don't know about you guys, but I've noticed that the delay in the stream seems like it's getting better. Plus, I guess they're adding new transcoding options. So right now we got source, high, medium, low, or whatever it is. And I don't know if you guys saw the little screenshot, but now you got 1080 high definition, you got 720, you got all kinds of them that you can go down the list for. So it seems like they've been doing a lot since Amazon picked them up, obviously because now there's more money to be tossed around. And for me, at least, it seems like the delay is getting better and better. When I first started streaming on Twitch, there was zero delay. There was maybe a 1 to 2 second delay. Somebody would type something in chat, you replied to it, they immediately would hear it. And then once they swapped over to what was it, like less delay for partner streamers or whatever, I mean, we'd have a delay of up to 1 minute sometimes, and that was extremely painful a couple of years ago. But since then, it seems like it's been getting a whole lot better. So I think the whole Amazon buy-in Twitch was a good thing, and only going to improve from here.
The average delay I'm currently getting when I'm watching is like 12 to 15 seconds, which is a lot better than like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I would be like when I see this business move, it's a very, very well designed one. When you have the integration of like the Amazon and the stream in such a way that it's very comfortable for both the consumer, and you can see the advantage at the ends of the Amazon. Bits I was a little bit different on when that was introduced, because you couldn't turn it off if you ever permanently enabled it, and it was like I can't even enable it as a Canadian because fuck Canada apparently. But
Nice.
at the same point in time, what then always concerns me is when you look at the track record of Amazon and in terms of how they treat their employees, especially when you talk about the packaging industry. Amazon, like being a streamer, being under Amazon, if they're willing to treat their their delivery service workers that way, I just will always be very, very cautious.
Are you telling me you don't want to be an Amazon employee? What is this? Yeah, I heard pretty bad things about that as well. A friend of mine worked for them for like 1 year-ish, as in like the huge like packaging hall, and he said it's pretty horrible. Even for a student job, he said it's not cool.
Do they just run those guys ragged? Is that the deal, or
Yeah,
are they just like
Completely.
it's like
Yeah.
hilariously underpaid, and you have to work a lot.
most
Like-
people are underpaid though? I think with any job that you do in any industry, I think most people are grossly underpaid for what they do.
Well,
Not saying that it's okay for Amazon to do that or whatever, but
I think it was more so it's very, very high-paced work or fast-paced work that
Right.
you are going to get yelled and threatened of being fired pretty much daily because you're not up to an unreasonable speed and tons of memorization needed.
It's like it's very, very,
one
very
of those.
stressful at like super minimum pay. That's like doable by law.
Yeah.
It seems to be pretty crazy from what I heard.
So about that Path of Exile.
What's this Path of Exile stuff?
So, what have you taken any look at the Shaper or the Guardian fights, Mori?
I don't even know what that is. No.
Interesting.
Awesome. He said he's going in blind, so apparently he's taking it like completely seriously.
So there's been quite a few maps that I go into, and there's some sort of floating artifact, and it says something about Shaper or whatever. And I'm the worst person when it comes to playing video games and following the lore. No idea why we're doing what we're doing, and I hate to keep referring back to Diablo 3, but it's a pretty good example. At the end of Diablo 3, or when you wind up killing Diablo goes turns from a woman into like a big beast with boobs. I don't know why that even happens, and then why we kill her or whatever. So I, to this day, still have no idea what happens in that game. And Path of Exile is no difference. I have no idea why we wake up on a beach. Maybe if I just read the text, that was there, I'd understand. But I just
Oh, no, you would not.
click.
It's
Is it really? So yeah, I've been seeing these floating artifacts, and they say Shaper, and then it's like go back and talk to Zaina, and I go back and I'm like, okay, click, click. I move through. I have no idea what it is. I do know that Shaper is apparently, I don't know if it's the new end boss or what it is, but I haven't seen it. I haven't done it. I probably won't ever do it. I probably won't ever see it. I don't know. I'm a pretty low level player, so doing anything kind of high end is beyond me.
Have you ever tried it, Ziri?
I have. Yes, I have. The furthest I've ever made it was I actually killed the trio. I actually made it to at Ziri last league on, I believe it was my Earthquake character. And then I died to her. But then when the character got transferred to the standard league, I then went all the way through it and murdered everything instantly. So there's actually a couple highlight videos up of me doing it. But as far as killing her on hardcore, it hasn't happened yet.
All right.
How did you find that encounter? Oh, sorry, Yoji.
No, just go ahead. I like your question more.
But it was awesome, honestly. I like it. I mean, it was everything in that map is an elite or magic monster, magic pack, whatever you want to call it. It was enjoyable. I thought it was great. And the fact that I play only hardcore, there's that additional rush of, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, am I going to die? So uh, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed I call her Treasy, but I enjoy the Atziri fight. It's pretty cool.
Good Azubi. Yeah, by the way, did you play hardcore or softcore on Diablo 3 when you played it?
Only softcore.
Because now you're playing hardcore.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that because I started like I guess if you want to call it a streaming career, I started my streaming career, streaming Diablo 3. It was the game that I was playing at the time, and I was like, hey man, I want to try this streaming thing out, and here we are, almost 4 years later, and it's been going great. But when I played that game, it was always softcore. I had this mindset that I don't want to work 100 hours plus or whatever building a character just to lose it, just to start over. So I just did softcore. I was at dinner with a friend one time, and he was saying, let's play a different game. Diablo's kind of dead. It's kind of stale. Let's play a new game or a different game, Path of Exile. I said, yeah, I've heard of it. I actually played it, back in 2012 or whatever for a little bit. I said, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to play it completely different from what I'm used to with Diablo 3. I'm going to play a melee character, and I'm going to do nothing but hardcore. And he's like, yeah, rock and roll. Let's do it. So that's kind of why I've done it and why I've stuck with it. But I've gone back to Diablo 3 every now and again when a new league comes out or a new season, whatever they call it, and I play softcore and I'm bored spitless. So I don't even know how I did it for so long.
Ambulance number 2.
Yeah. Yay.
I thought one of you guys was getting arrested, like house raid or some shit.
I just lived next to one of the biggest hospitals in Berlin, so that doesn't help the streaming atmosphere.
So then you go back to Diablo 3 in the new leagues. What is it that you're really enjoying? Yeah, you're saying you get bored of it, but you're going back for a reason. What are you enjoying when you first go into the D3 with the new content? Nothing.
Yeah, I'm serious. Absolutely nothing. 99.9% of the time 100% of the time that I go back is because the viewers are like, Mori, there's a new season. Are you going to go play it? And I'm thinking to myself, fuck no, I'm not going to play that shit. It's garbage. But, because of, there's certain people that are like, man, I'd love to see a Diablo stream. I'll say, all right, well, we'll do a Diablo stream. And I might play it for 1 or 2 streams in a row, but then right back to Path of Exile. So I don't enjoy anything with Diablo anymore, which is sad because like I had so much love for that game, man. I mean, I had so much love for Blizzard as a company, and everything. So it's just a lot has changed over the years.
It was really hard to let go of D3 and just accept it's like, this is not going to be the game I want it to be. Because I was a huge fan of D1, I was a huge fan of D2, and there was things that I actually really did enjoy at the start of D3. But over time, they just took those things away. One of the things that I don't get from Path of Exile that I actually used to get from D3 original was the original Infernal Magic packs and Elite packs were so exciting to fight because they were all extremely threatening.
Yeah.
And then they decided no. Just
yeah.
By the way, PT, did you play hardcore or softcore in D3?
I always played hardcore. I think when I first played Diablo 1, Diablo 1 had a hardcore, right?
I
don't even remember. I played softcore like when I first played ARPGs, and then from there, no.
Alright. Yeah, I played hardcore in Diablo 2 because the people who told me to play hardcore, and I made it through the first difficulty without dying. I'm super proud of that. And then when I died, I just quit. And Diablo 3, I played softcore because all my friends were playing softcore, and basically hardcore was, most people's opinion was hardcore was not the most balanced thing ever because it didn't feel like it was always fair when you died. So I was like, unfair deaths were kind of like, eh. So I played softcore with my friends, we just like randomly doing stuff, farming, But the one thing that really bugged me was at the beginning was the whole real money auction house thing, because I didn't really feel like buying in-game items for real money, but if like 1 or 2 people in your party do, it's so dumb. Because suddenly they're like so OP and you're not.
I thought it was great. Like, I thought it was great, and I didn't even use it. Just the idea, and I think that's kind of maybe what pushed me to play more and more and more, right? Like, you get to a point where, obviously, anything that you do, the more you do it, you get bored, and then you don't want to do it anymore. Like, if you had ever hit that boredom spot in Diablo 3, you could always still find the desire to play because you would think the very next pack that I kill could have that $250 item on it. Because I think that was the limit that you could sell something for was $250, or maybe it was $200 on the auction house. But there was always that thought in the back of your head, man, I've got 20 minutes before I have to go to work or before I got to do this or that. Maybe I could drop a $250 item. And, most of the times you didn't. But I mean, there was always that potential. I mean, I remember I had sold an item one time on the auction house for, I think it was $87, 87 US dollars. And I had listed it for sale, and there's a waiting period. I think it was 5 minutes that you had to wait before it actually was populated into the auction house. And at that 5-minute mark, it instantly sold. And I remember kicking myself going, damn it, I priced it too low, and then thinking, shit, yeah, that's $87. Hell yeah, it's a lot of money. So I enjoyed it, but I really didn't use it that much. I think maybe in all I don't even know how long it was up, a year and a half, however long it was there, I probably made $200-300 tops off of that thing, and I probably spent maybe $100, no more than $100 on buying different items. So I liked it. I thought it was great, and I hated to see it go. And I wish that they would implement something like that in Path of Exile. Maybe not so much a real money auction house, but definitely an auction house.
I'm always skeptical when you have a system that integrates, let's say, in-game currency with real-life currency. And it's really, really easy to say, like, okay, well, these are reasonable prices for somebody who lives in the United States. As soon as you have someone who's living in, like, Thailand, as soon as you have someone who's living in, like, the Philippines, even Portugal's lower wage significantly than United States. So you get this really weird system. It's like, yeah, okay, well, if you are in, some of those areas, you could potentially get bigger cash outs, but at the same point in time, buying things ends up being quite intense. And then it takes so much away from the game because now you're adding, like, personal financial responsibility while I'm playing a game. And I'm like, I don't want to be thinking about that when I'm playing a video game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But Gibbinator in chat actually says D3 was his job for some months. And I know someone who did that as well while at university. He bought, like, really good gear for, like some euros. And then he started farming and actually made his money back and paid, like, instead of having the student job, he just played D3 in his free time and sold good loot. And that flipped items as well.
I was
That's essentially no different than being a streamer, I mean, seriously, playing video games and, making money on the side or whatever. And I guess there is that potential with the auction house. Do you guys remember a game many, many years ago? It was called Ultima Online. Did either of you play that?
I did not ever play it seriously. I played it a little bit, but I was like, that's like so long ago, though.
So I knew people that they did that for a job. They played Ultima Online. And back then you would think, wow, you play a game for a job. That's how you make your money. That's how you provide for your kids. I guess it's no different than streaming. But there was crafting in that game and like mining. So you could go out, you could mine ore, you could chop down trees for wood. I knew a lady that's what she did all day long for about 10 hours straight. She would go mining. She would sell that on, I think it was eBay at the time or something like that. And then she would pay for everything essentially, and then wind up getting a bunch of gold, or it's actually checks or whatever that game had. I can't remember. And then, start flipping items and everything. So pretty cool that you could actually do something like that, real money auction house, whatever.
As someone would mention in chat, I think there's a difference if you're streaming, you're an entertainer using the video game as your material essentially. Right. So not everyone can just boot up this direct stream and that's giving money, because it's a different kind of market and thing. As for other games, there's always been in any grinded game some kind of either supported or non-supported finite ability to gain money. Even if it's not sanctioned, we have D2 JSP for a reason.
That's true.
And you can't avoid that. When I the original thing with the real money auction house, I was like, okay, so they know about D2 JSP, which is great, and they're like, well, cut out the middleman, screw D2 JSP. We get this, and they're kind of working with the problem, even if it's not intentional. But And
I
Path
think,
of Exile has those borders as well.
I guess their logic basically was like, hey, why are these guys making money with this? We should be making money with this. But
Right.
I mean, they gave it a try. I think it's I don't blame them for trying at all, and they ended up removing it in the end. I think it's like something that probably has been on a lot of devs' mind, but most of them probably for some reason decided not to do it or just feared like the backlash from a community or whatever.
I thought the legal logistics of it would be too much of a nightmare.
Yeah, that's another thing as well.
I thought they did it, and I still feel like they did it because they didn't want other people making money off of their game. It opened up the whole, third party like D3 Geeks, D3 Elite, whatever it was called, and they were. I think that and I don't know, I don't have any inside information, but I feel like they just did it because they were tired of other people making money off of their games. So if we're not going to have anybody make money, now we're just going to get rid of it altogether. And they essentially killed the game. And that's why in with trading, right? Because they took out trading because they removed the real money auction house. You could still trade, and then they were still making money. Now we're going to cancel trading. They essentially killed their own game with doing that. I think it was a very bad idea on their part.
It's actually kind of an interesting thing because though you might say like, okay, this RMT stuff in any game is bad, it does create a very foundational, super hardcore demographic that will consistently give, economy stimulation. And you could use it to your advantage, and I don't think they, like Diablo 3, completely succeeded. I think you kind of have to make a game from the ground up with the intention of embracing RMT and integrating it within your resource designing systems. But that's not going to be an easy task.
That seems weird. Trying to do that, I don't know.
Yeah. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that would be like, okay, this would make sense. But in theory, that demographic should be fairly large. Because people liked the real money auction house, didn't they? Not everybody.
I don't know. I know there were a lot of people who really did not like it, but there were also people who liked it a lot and quit when it was closed. So, I mean, overall, I agree with Mori that the game definitely took a hit from when they closed trading down completely. The game, you could see the population of the game drop pretty quickly, and even the expansion could not pick that up again.
Is Diablo 3 active at all right now?
I'm sure there's a Diablo 3 community. As far as active on Twitch, no. The last night during prime time, at least prime time for me, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever, I think the top streamer had 43 viewers. Not that Twitch is a good indication of whether or not a game is dead or alive, but it hasn't been this low in a very, very long time.
Yeah, and that is, it does tell how exciting it is for people to be watching it. So it actually is kind of interesting. But that was the weird thing when they put the foot down on no trade. I was just like, okay, so I'm never playing D3 again. And
now you play Solo's Hellbound? Wait a second. How does that make sense?
Because I can trade. I'm just choosing not to. And I would like to trade, but unfortunately, fucking gloriously is shit balance. So we'll just wait. Wait until they fix balance so I can trade again.
It's interesting. It's interesting how something like not really trade related made you not trade, basically. So more the balance of the rest of the game that you decide.
Well,
it's
just
to
like
not trade.
It's your both your flame blast builds. You don't need exceptional gear, and your builds are extremely powerful. And that becomes the thing. Is like, okay, I could put a unrealistic amount of time in, so I need to create these challenges, or I'll just instantly get to the end, and it's like, well, so that's why. If they fix the balance curve, I would definitely just stop solo self-found at all. Maybe with the removal of the difficulty, that'll happen. Fingers crossed.
What difficulty?
Oh, there was a message that in 3.0 that there will only be 10 acts, not 15.
That's the patch that comes out next year.
Yeah.
There's going to be 10 acts next year.
Yeah,
rather than 15.
Yeah.
I'm never getting into maps now.
No, there's less. There's currently 12 because it's 4 acts repeated.
Oh, gotcha. Oh,
times.
okay. Okay.
Right. So
I thought you meant we were going to have like...
No, not 10 acts times 3. That would be crazy.
Yeah. We got so
taking
many
me a whole
support
league
packs.
just to get to the end. Oh,
That would be crazy. Yeah, I'd probably not play much PoE if that happened. Like, hey, how about you play through Act 1 to 10 3 times? Do lab every time, and then time for maps in month 3 of the league. Let's go.
No. So what they're doing, they didn't say exactly. It sounds like that the removal of essentially merciless difficulty. But they've stated in their choice of words is rather than 15 acts, they're adding in a new act, Act 5. But that would mean 15 acts before you get to endgame. That's too much. So they're reducing it to 10 acts. This is most likely the removal of merciless difficulty. But they didn't specifically state that, so maybe there's something weird going on. We'll see.
Why don't they do, like, I hate to say, copy something from
Greater
Diablo.
Rifts,
No, initially in the beginning of the cast, you had asked me what is something that I wish that they did in this game that they did in Diablo. Now that I think about it, Diablo got rid of the whole normal, cruel, and merciless, whatever it was in that game. I don't remember. Why have they not gotten rid of that here? They made it one seamless process all the way from level 1 all the way to max level, and then you start your Paragon grind. Like, I get the whole, repeat the whole game essentially 3 times, but why? Why not just get rid of that and just kind of make it go all the way through?
I think the main reasoning is tradition and Diablo 2 did it. And
Right.
also it's difficult to change now that it's already in because you kind of have to overhaul everything. But actually the reasoning Chris gave the last time I saw him ask about this was it's been a tradition in ARPGs and that's how they've always worked without actually giving a reason for it other than that. Which is, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I have to say, like, especially like cruel difficulty, that's what most people complain about. Like playing through normal is just like easy mode, who cares, I guess, and it's useful for new players to not have the game start super hard, of course. Cruel is kind of like, you don't even have to buy new gear for cruel.
Right.
You just like overcap a little in normal, play until merciless, and then you gear up like a little bit before, and then you play to maps, and then you gear up for maps.
Well, okay, so Mori, you don't do a huge amount of research, as you said. You just play the game. How is your leveling experience? When is it exciting when you roll a new character? When is it dull? Like, run us through the emotional roller coaster that is you getting to maps.
I find where it's so. I would say, and this is probably not going to be the same for everybody. I find it dull when my character hits the merciless difficulty, right out of the gate for the very first time, and then when I hit Act 4 merciless and I get to the dried lake, that's where it kind of seems a little bit dry to me because I feel like my character's not strong enough to go into maps. So then I find myself farming the dried lake until used to be level 75, but I feel like I could farm it even longer now to get better XP than going into maps. But that's the part where it seems that the game lags for me and gets really boring. Like, I could be in maps right now, but I'm getting so much better XP just farming the dried lake. The whole normal, cruel, and the first part of merciless, I have no problems with that. I feel like it goes pretty smoothly, and generally, just with the gear that I'm dropping, I'm, finding myself able to do the content that I'm at. It's that part right before maps that just absolutely kills me.
That's kind of interesting because a lot of people really love the whole dried lake thing.
Yeah.
But at the same point in time, dried lake annoys me personally because it's so efficient.
Right. Yeah.
All right. You go in you're like, oh, I'm just gonna stop dried lake. I'll do a map. You run your map, and you're like, oh my god, I could have gotten like 3 levels.
But that's something that's interesting about them adding another act, because at that point, like, Act 4 will not be the highest non-map zone levels anymore, most likely. There will be like an Act 5 with some new zones and stuff. Do you think
Super dried lake.
Yeah, do you think they will add an even drier lake than dried lake, or will they, or do you expect them to not give us a super farming zone before maps again? Do you think they will not do it? That's what I'm kind of curious about, what your predictions would be for that one.
Well, hasn't there been like a farming zone like in every single one? I mean, I don't know. You guys know more than me, but I always thought that like the ledge was like kind of a good farming zone, and then the Fellshrine Ruins would be the next one, and then Act 3 would be the docks. So then now we have the dried lake. So I would imagine they would just stay true to form. If there is an Act 5, there would have to be, I think, or they would just follow form, that there'd be another zone that's kind of that farming zone for that act, I think.
Well, regardless, players will just farm the zone that gives them the best results. But
Right.
it's more when you compare, let's say, the layout of Dried Lake and the mob density of Dried Lake with the
It's
layout
beautiful.
and the mob density of Docks. There's no comparison at all. And it's not that the Dried Lake is such a high level, it's that it spawns a fairly absurd amount of mobs. You can walk 2 feet and just go dick first into 4 packs. You're not like finding 1 pack, walk, a screen away, there's another pack. You walk half a screen and there's 3 packs.
Right.
So that's the thing about Dried Lake, is the mob density that's available, and that it's a perfect loop. So you just run around in a circle, reset the zone, run around in a circle, reset the zone over and over with a boss, which means you can, 2 bosses, meaning you can get boss farming loot at the same point in time that you're just EXP farming. It's, I would hope they would have learned from Dried Lake and maybe not given us something that intense.
Please don't give us something great, GGG.
Yeah, we want like really painfully shit farming zones.
Yeah.
Can like the highest level zones, like all zones in Act 5, can they please be like tunnel map? That would be awesome. Just
Dried Lake
as-
of all tunnel trap.
We as
yeah.
players can find anything and everything to complain about. This zone is too good. I'm getting too much XP. Fuck this.
Well,
We've actually had that happen though. That's
It's
the one.
about comparison.
I think people people will always feel inclined to farm the best zone, but people also, it happens to be, at least from what I heard, and a lot of people that are complaining about Dried Lake are annoyed by always farming the same zone over and over, because they kind of, that's like the idea and the cool thing about maps, that you can farm, the zones you're farming are changing every now and then, because you are not farming the same map over and over, especially now that there are so many, and that there are also more zones with good layouts and maps. And being stuck in Dried Lake just is a bit dull, because it's always the exact same thing. I mean, then there are people like Steox who just level to 100 in fucking Dried Lake, but he doesn't count. Or
I
Pause.
can't believe we did that.
Or Pause who just like Dried Lake stream because it's chill, and then Wild Sparks 500 Dried Lakes per second. I mean,
No, that was impressive, both by Stax and Pause, the amount of times that they would farm that thing with their sparkers.
also Project PT, you only farm beacon maps. I mean, what's up with that?
Hey, my fucking tier 13s. Goes fine until we get to the boss, and then we have to take a 10-minute break.
I'll probably never even see tier 13 this league.
What tier are you at currently?
I'm level 88, and I'm kind of just doing 7s, 8s, and every now and then if I drop a 9, I'll do a 9. But let's say tier 8 is what I'm doing. That's probably why it's taken me, this long to hit level 88. I'm never going to hit 92. That's my goal this league, is to hit level 92. After that, I don't care.
Why exactly
Gonna be there.
92?
What's that?
Why exactly 92?
Because the highest character that I've ever had is level 91. So I got this weird thing, and maybe a lot of people would think this is crazy. Like, I set a goal at the very beginning. A lot of people shoot for the doing all the challenges and achievements, 40-40 or whatever it's called, and that's what they focus on. I focus on getting 1 level higher than I did the previous league. So last league, it was 91. Once we hit level 91, we celebrated and killed the character off. This league, it'll be 92. Just get to 92. Once we do that, we'll celebrate by killing the character off and then starting something else.
So are you saying in 8 leagues you're going to make a level 100?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was telling the stream that I said eventually the goal will be get to level 100. Now, I don't know if I actually have the patience to do that, because that's essentially going to be, 1 character for the entire league for how long it takes me to level. Mm-hmm. And then maybe we might not even make it, I don't know. I would hope in 8 leagues that I'd probably have a little bit more knowledge of the game and know what to do, when to do, kind of thing.
It's gonna slow the fuck down. You're gonna enjoy going past 95. Oh,
Have you guys ever had a level 100 character?
highest I had was level 97, and they've nerfed experience again. But it gets real fucking slow past 95.
Yeah. I mean, at 95, I actually was surprised after that how fast it still was. It was not. I expected it to be even slower than it was because of all the complaints I heard. I could see myself to level to at least like 97, I would say, from just looking at the experience it needs. After that, the amount goes like up by a mile. Like just like from looking at the numbers, how much it goes up. Like 97 to 98 to 99 to 100. That seems to be the actual absurd grind from what I've seen.
I was trying to remember how much of a percent I was through 97. I think I was over halfway, but it is fucking a crawl, and you do have to make the decision. All right, are you going to actually focus on the EXP per period of time, or are you just going to, not give a shit? I went on the not give a shit category because it was working fantastically for me. It was fun, but the process of increasing my experience per period of time lowers how much fun I'm going to have on my character, and that's not what I'm looking for.
What I don't get is how like they've nerfed the XP and everybody's talking about it, everybody notices it, but yet those guys, the top dudes that hit level 100 first, instead of hitting it in a week now, they hit it in 12 days? I think it was 13 days when the guy hit the first level 100 on Hardcore League. It's just it's insanity to me that they're able to, we've nerfed it, it's going to be a lot harder to get it, and then it just takes them an extra 4 or 5 days.
To be fair, they are machines.
Like literally machines, they're bots.
No,
but more like cyborgs, I guess.
Yeah, cyborgs. They are machines that poop. No, but they are players that care so much about min-maxing and getting every little bit. It's quite impressive what they can do to get it in such short times. But
so do you think that guys like that screw everybody else essentially? Because GGG says, okay, we look at this league and it took this person X amount of time to get there. It took a handful of people X amount of time to get there. Maybe it's too easy. So then they nerf it or they make it more difficult. And then the next league, they wind up just getting there 4 days longer, right? So then they go, well, maybe we didn't hit it hard enough. So the next league or next expansion will hit it even harder. Do you think that it screws people like me or people like at my level that, we've never seen level 95. We don't even know what level 95 looks like now. I mean, shit, we'll never even see level 90, Do you guys think that, or do you guys think it's like, oh, well, no, whatever?
I don't know what their reasoning is behind nerfing the experience, if it's just, if they actually look at which player demographic they look, but I mean, yeah, if your plan is to level past, what is it, 93, 94, where after that you get more experience penalty if you run lower maps now. So, yeah, it kind of screws you over, definitely, the changes. Like, for everyone who wants to level to a higher level has a harder time. And if you're not min-maxing, you will feel it more than the people who are actually playing 12 hours a day and min-maxing their map pool and always running the best maps possible or the fastest possible. So I would say you will definitely feel the difference, but then you don't really care about, like, as much how long it takes, do you? What is it?
All right, 3 ambulances.
Ah, yes.
What I was going to say is, like, D2 was not designed to hit the max level. This is a different game. Dark Souls was not designed to hit the max level.
Is there max level in Dark Souls?
Yes, 720 something, or like 717.
Oh, interesting.
Jeez.
And let's say if you think hitting level 100 in Path of Exile is time-consuming, this is a monster that nobody gets to unless they cheat, essentially. But with the nerfing, it does seem you're not supposed to hit level 100. Certain people can, and they get a little bit of a badge. But your characters can be completely done by 85. And 85 to 90 is where I would consider what endgame is.
I mean,
Rise QT is saying all the top racers wanted the EXP nerf, which is a nice thing. I know the journal people who I talked with who can get to like above 98 wanted it. When I did my Essence Drain character and I very casually got to 97, I felt I got too far because I wasn't rewarded It wasn't an efficiency accomplishment at all.
You just refused to stop playing and leveled. Yeah, that's basically
Yeah.
what I did as well. Like this league. I mean, that's I not really that I refused to stop playing, but this was the first time I did not feel like I I was running out of things to do, and so I usually what happens how my characters die is I make one goal for them, like kill this boss, try a Zeri, Uber Zeri, whatever something, and then I level until the character is like at a point where it stops being fun to either upgrade the gear or I run out of interesting maps content to do, or I hit a wall that's annoying, and then I try at that arbitrary point I just try the content I wanted to try, and usually either die or succeed and retire the character. And this league I actually got to 95, almost 96, something like this, without getting bored at all, which is by far the most. And then I tried the Minotaur and Core, and I was super disappointed with Core, by the way. And I tried the Minotaur and the Hydra actually got me, but it was super fun. Probably my favorite death in PoE so far. The Hydra fight, it was just good. I just fucked up hilariously, but it was a good fight. It was hectic. It was awesome. He did not die fast, as opposed to Core, who just got one shot. Everything he did was like one flame blast. It was pretty cool.
Well, see, so I'm kind of reading chat over here, and I'm wondering the question that I had posed to you guys was that do you think that like those racers, those top people that play the game, do you think they ruined it for us low-level dudes? And I'm not talking about like, well, Mori, you suck, so you don't really have a say in it, but I feel like those top guys like Rise Cutie and all those other dudes that push the ladder really hard and make it and or right about get there, they feel that because they're such an elite player and they're such on like a different tier than everybody else, or at least guys like me, that like the game is too easy. And so, GGG does really good with looking at player feedback and what the community wants. And so do you think that maybe they've looked at like these top guys and said, okay, these top guys all want it nerfed, they want the XP reduced, but in doing so, they've screwed people like myself who don't necessarily play the game, don't have any real desire to like be the best. But I mean, eventually one of these days, I wouldn't mind having a level 100 character. And now that is even pushed even further out of sight because certain people wanted it harder.
I think there's want to make a little bit of distinction between like the difficulty of the game and the time it takes to make a 100. But my opinion is that like 100 was kind of supposed to be an unobtainable goal, and to achieve it or to even try for it is to have, you can't do something that is necessarily supposed to be the most fun for you, and whatever you do has the chance of getting to that 100. It's supposed to be, oh, you want to hit 100, you want to work for 100, you have to learn the racing rules, you need to learn how to optimize, and that the 100 is a reward or a proof of how much and how well you can optimize.
Right.
The better you're doing, the less time it's going to take you, and then the more realistically you won't burn yourself out to achieve it. And that's a bit of the point, isn't it? You don't unlock anything from hitting 100. The stat gain you get between 95 and 100 is marginal at best, and you shouldn't need it, because if your build can't do something at 95 and then can't do it at 97, I'm confused.
Yeah, if your build can't do it at 95, you probably won't be able to do it at 100 either. It's because you will pick up the 5 least important stat points for your character on the tree at that point. So yeah, it's not gonna do much. I think it's they kind of like people existing who play this efficient kind of does change the balance. And if you want to reach something, it might put some certain things out of your reach. But I agree with PT that it's something that might be put out of your reach that is not important for your like enjoyment of the game. It's more like there's an achievement there you might want just for the sake of the achievement that
Right.
will be really hard to get. But it's just there for the sake of achieving it, and not it doesn't hold you actually back from experiencing any fun content in the game. It's just you can't get that trophy unless you invest more into the game, which I don't think is bad. It's just a trophy, basically. So I don't think it's actually ruining anything for anyone.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. I don't feel like, those guys have ruined it for me. I was just posing the question, do you think that maybe the majority of the people that are below all the elite people kind of have a feeling of we're getting screwed. Like I told you, my goal this league is to hit 92. I mean, that's not even, I mean, anybody could probably do that. Even a new player to this league could probably hit 92 with a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of patience. So, I don't have any kind of dreams or aspirations of hitting, the top player or competing with Rise Cutie and trying to get the top 100 or anything like that, So I don't want anybody to think like, well, Mori, wants to be an elite. That's not the case. Don't make the game easier. I definitely don't want you to do that, because we saw what happened with Diablo 3, cater to the new player, I guess, or make it noob friendly, and then you wind up killing your own game.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think there's a mentality with a lot of gamers that if something exists, it's definitely a newer mentality because of how games have changed. If something exists in a game, I must be able to get it, and that's a very new mentality. Whereas when you talk about some of the old school games, there was a lot of things that was like, if you want to experience this content, you have to fucking work for it. I think it would be a problem if there was content gated at 100. If there was a problem, if there was content or equipment gear gated for that, I could be like, yeah, you know what? Since you've made event X, which is really fun, and you're like, oh, well, you have to be 100 to do it. Well, fuck you. Now more people need to be able to hit 100. But since there isn't, there is very, very little benefit, and even the measurable benefits you can get are arguably not even ever worth the time. That it's for the sake of being able to do that. So as long as they don't put something at the end that requires the 100, I don't have an issue, and it's then more about teaching players just because something exists in the game doesn't mean you have access to it, and that's something everybody has to learn. Everybody in Path of Exile, you're like, oh, I'm going to make a build. It's level 100. I made a build when I first started. It was level 100. Spoiler, didn't get there. I looked through the unique list when I was playing in Nemesis, and I saw Vol's Devotion. Spoiler, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I remember, in trade chat being like, want to buy Death's Rush and stuff like this, and it's a game. Yeah, but it's a game that you have to learn that what you want isn't achievable. You're not getting the Val's +1 Chev 6 Link, that's like 99% perfect Divine Roll. It is a game always that there is more that you can do, that you can always achieve more, and the worst thing you could do is make it so that the end is tangible.
Oh, that's kind of a good point. I don't know. I actually feel like since Ascendancy came out, this is like I actually feel like if I wanted to, I could probably go for 100 and reach it within a league, which I hadn't. Before Ascendancy, I never felt like I could do it. But right now, I feel if I actually wanted to, I could probably do it, which is surprising. And it's a weird feeling, because I always felt like I'm... And of course, players just got better. It's nothing to do with power creep, as we all know. So apparently I've just gotten so much better that 100 is now in my reach, which I don't think is, because I don't really make an effort to actually get good at this game. Kind of like Mori, but I actually enjoy like researching maybe a bit more, but I don't really make an effort to get better as a person, as a player, when it comes to my player skill. I just want to know more about the game. But yeah, I think the power level is just so high that it's more of a decision of, do I want to do it? Do I want to invest this time or not? Also, Mori getting dissed for looking at the keyboard while typing.
I've never learned how to type. Well, when I went through, I don't know how old you guys are, but I'm 38 years old. When I was in high school or elementary, whatever it was, like there was no typing class. You didn't even have a computer class. Most computers weren't like even in schools until after I graduated in '96. I mean, shit, we didn't even have the internet. Whenever I did a freaking school paper, it was my mother would drive me to the library. I'd sit at the library for a few hours to write a paper. So I never learned how to type, And so now at 38 years old, I get shit for this all the time. I have to look down at the keys because I don't even know, where the keys are. Like, well, just hit the shift button. I don't know where shift is. Hit the X key. I don't know where that is. It's pretty tough for me. So I always get shit for that all the time.
You're still pecking. You've been streaming for 4 years and you're pecking when you type.
Yeah. I wish I could just like look up and type, because I see a lot of people do it. I'm like, wow, that looks awesome. Like it could save me so much time.
So are you saying we shouldn't be expecting you on like StarCraft Pro Tours anytime soon?
Yeah, shit, even with World of Warcraft, I watch guys play World of Warcraft and they're just like spinning around and every button's getting hit at the same time. I was the player that I used my mouse to activate every skill on World of Warcraft. I'm click, 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 click. It was terrible. But I mean, I got good at it. I got used to it. And I wish I knew how to type.
I think I might have killed a couple people like you in PvP.
Yeah, the people like everyone was always behind me. I could never spin around. Like once you went behind me, it was like, all right, go ahead and kill me. The game's over.
Oh. Those cheese strats walking behind people. What is this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is your 1v1 duel experience at your high-end World of Warcraft there, Mori. You start, they walk through your character, and you lose.
Yep, it's over. Yeah. Oh, it's over.
That's awesome.
My strategy was to continue backing up. As they're coming to me, I'm just backing up. Like, as long as I could keep them in front of me, I had a chance,
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's awesome. I wonder if there's some people in PoE who actually click the flasks instead of pressing 1 to 5. Because you can do that, right? You can drink a flask by clicking on it on the flask bar.
That's actually true. I remember I wanted to unequip a flask, and for some reason my mouse was closer on the bar, so I was like, "Oh, I'll just click the flask here and drag it, throw it on the ground because I want to throw it." And it consumed the flask. I'm like, "Who the fuck is clicking the flasks?" Like, if you're doing that, you're not getting very far in PoE.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it was wonderful.
That's a fun thing you can do.
Hard. Yeah.
Yeah, in hardcore especially, like if your flask reaction is like pulling your mouse over to your instant life flask and you click it, no, that's not gonna happen.
My strategy is I have all of my flasks. I have a Razer Naga Hex, so it has 6 buttons on the side of it in a circle. I think it's designed for action RPG games. My strategy is whenever my character starts taking damage, I just immediately put my thumb over that and mash every single button. So I generally like drain all 3 flasks because I always run with 3 flasks. I generally drain all 3 flasks pretty much anytime I take damage, and that's like my flask reaction time.
Yeah, I have my flasks on mouse as well. And my thumb is like always there, and I just like waggle my thumb over like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, depending on what I'm playing. Like if I'm CI Pathfinder, it's a lot of over those buttons. And yeah, when shit happens, I just like fat finger all buttons like crazy. If like my life goes low and I'm playing a life, but I could press all the buttons.
I generally have, because with 2 life flasks, I have 1 life flask on my digits of 1 to 4, and my second one as thumb, so that I can just go like flask, 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 and I'm like, yay, I'm flasking. It's terrible.
How do you guys move in the game? I always get a lot of people that say, "Wow, I don't know how you do this or how you can even play like this." But my character moves with the spacebar. So if I'm not pressing the spacebar, my character's not moving. Do you guys do something similar, or do you guys do the whole click all over the screen thing?
Sorry, repeat what you're doing exactly?
So I move in Path of Exile with my spacebar. So if I want my character to move from point A to point B, I just hit the spacebar, and that's what initiates the character walking. If I let go of spacebar, the character stops walking. Do you guys click all over the place, or have you set up some sort of movement with?
Mind blown. That
What?
I know.
You can do that?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Are you being serious, or are you trolling me?
No.
What command is this? I have the spacebar as a flask because I rebounded it, but you can press a button on your key that'll walk. Oh my god!
Any button that you want to, like let's say you wanted W to be your movement button, you just press W. You just map it.
You bound movement to space.
Your move to. Oh no!
My move is on my spacebar. Yeah,
that's interesting. I have move on left click as I think 99.9% of people probably. Spacebar for me is actually forced standstill, so for me it's actually the opposite. When I hold my spacebar, my character does not move.
Well, I'll tell you why I do that. In Diablo 3, there was a world, I don't remember, Whimsyshire. It had a bunch of, do you guys remember Whimsyshire?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so there was clouds everywhere. When you click the clouds, your character would go into this like 2-second animation where he's like doing some sort of rain dance to open up this cloud, and then loot would fall out. Well, in that level, there's so many rainbows, so many clouds that when I used to click to move like everybody else did, in a panic sometimes when I'm fighting a pack of monsters, I would click on a cloud. My character would go into this movement, this automatic, sequence, and then my character would wind up dying. And so then I'd have to restart. Well, so finally I decided, well, I need something that is going to allow my character in like the heat of battle, I can run out and I can pathfind through everything. So I decided, let's put it on the spacebar. I press the spacebar. There is nothing that will ever stop your character other than a wall. And even so, if you hit a wall, it just starts pathing down or pathing up at whatever angle. So I implemented that into Path of Exile as well, because I panic. And when I start panicking, I'm like clicking everywhere. And then like now I'm clicking on a chest, or now I'm clicking on a monster, which then activates whatever skill is on your key. And now you're casting when you want to be running.
If you take your left click, you can put move only onto your left click rather than a ability or a skill. And so, like, my left click is move only. I cannot attack an enemy mob if I click on them.
But what happens if you hover your mouse over a strongbox and press spacebar? Will it open?
No, you just walk to it. So you walk to
Really?
you just walk to wherever your mouse icon is, right? So I could put it right over a strongbox and then hit spacebar, and I'll just walk right up to it. My character will hit it and then path around it and then just continue walking, essentially.
I have to agree, that's neat. Because I've died to accidentally clicking strong boxes before.
Yeah. Well, apparently I'm learning something from Mori today.
Yeah, and when he came on here, by the way, he was like, "I'm just a new player. I'm not like, I can't teach you guys anything at all." And like, here he is teaching us about the method of the spacebar.
And the way I always see it is like, my thumb, that thumb on my left hand is just kind of sitting there. It's not doing anything, so I may as well use it as the movement, so I'm pressing it up, down, whatever, and then my character is running all over the place. So for me, I find it easier. Maybe you guys give it a try next time you play, and do it on a softcore character or some shit like that, so you don't wind up dying. But give it a try, see if you like it. Maybe you're just like, whoa, this is freaking awesome. And a lot of people that I've said to try it, they've tried it and they go, yo, this is great, man. This is so much better.
I use spacebar for flasks.
I use spacebar for standing still, which is like kind of the opposite, because I used to have forced standstill. I think it's on shift by default, but my pinky finger can't take that much. Like I have not a trained pinky finger at all, so I was like, no, I'm just rebinding that to. I have a trained thumb because I thumbs up all the time, so that works. So I was like, I put it on spacebar instead.
Yoji disappointing women again.
with the pinky finger? Why would you use the pinky finger? Use the thumb. Thumb is best finger.
Use the minivan.
Oh yeah, use the minivan. I do the like.
I think the fact that you didn't get it made it better.
Yeah. Yeah. Feels bad. Feels bad.
Yoji confirmed casual.
Yeah. Clear casual.
All right. Where do we go from here?
I don't know. Anything else you want to talk about, Mori? PT? Any topics you want to bring up?
I'm pretty good, Mori.
No, I mean I'm good. This has been pretty fun. I've had a good time.
That's good. That's one of the points of the podcast, I guess. So yeah, if you want to check out Mori, he's streaming on Twitch, Morikiopa. You can check out his Twitch stuff. Do you have a YouTube or anything else? You have a Twitter, I think.
I've got Twitter and Facebook only, to let people know when I go live. I do have a YouTube. There's, I think, all of my Bloodborne and what's the other game called? Dark Souls. All my boss kills is on that, but there's zero actual. There's a couple of prank phone calls up there as well. That's absolutely hilarious and shit like that. But I just generally upload certain things from Twitch to the YouTube. So, but I think it's the same name, Morikiopa. It's all the same.
Alright, so yeah, that's where you find him, and yeah, I'll put all the stuff in the video description on the YouTubes when this goes on YouTube, and I think that's it. Podcast end.
Welcome. Goodbye. Fuck off.